Hello, everyone. This is Joseph from the Otaku Brothers podcast. Just wanted to give this quick message, real quick, that I will not be here for this podcast. I'm studying for finals, but Ben decided to step in and do a solo episode today. So hope you all enjoy. Give him some love, and yeah, I'll be back next week, and we'll be back on schedule. So I apologize, but yeah, hope you guys enjoy. Peace.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Otaku Brothers podcast. My name is Ben, not joined by my co host Joseph. Joseph is unfortunately studying for finals, which is totally understandable, but he'll be missing out this week. Yeah. Anyways, this is episode 41 of the Otaku Brothers podcast. Probably be a little bit shorter since we won't have Joseph's input, but I'll do what I can to make it as long as possible. I have some good news for you guys this week. And as always, I'll be talking about the five shows that we've been covering, which is Spy Family, Mob Psycho, Blue Lock, Bleach, and Chainsaw Man. I might added My Hero, since it's just me this time. So yeah. Now Joseph, I guess we can just jump right into it. He did link a YouTube video in our little notes that we share. So I wonder what that is. I haven't looked at it yet. Oh, that's cute. I'll probably watch it whenever I'm not recording because I'm just taking the time. It looks cool. So yeah, let's just jump right into it. First of all, we got some leaks that MAPPA will be animating One Punch Man Season 3, which is kind of crazy considering everything that they have on their plate already. There was an image that got leaked of Garo, and he looks pretty crazy in MAPPA's art style, so looking forward to that next year. We got some really big news regarding Demon Slayer Season 3. So, the whole season will start in April of 2023. But there's gonna be two special screenings, I guess. The first one's gonna be in February, it's gonna be like an exclusive screening in LA. And then on March 3rd, they're gonna do a theatrical release, which will be episodes 11 and 12 or 10 and 11 of the Entertainment District arc, and then episode 1 of the Swordsmith Swordsmith Village arc, which will be an hour long, so that'll be in theaters on March 3rd. And then again, the whole season will start in April. A Trigun sequel / reboot will be airing January 7th. I've heard of Trigun, but I haven't actually read it or watched it. I think it's a light novel, not sure though. And some Blue Lock news. Over the past 2 weeks, Blue Lock manga sales have increased by 2 million. So that may or may not be due to the World Cup. It'd be pretty cool if it is, just to show what kind of impact that has and stuff like that. I know, or we talked about how Japan's kit for the World Cup was drawn or made by the Blue Lock artist. So that's pretty cool. Some Bleach news. The final episode of Bleach will be an hour long, airing on December 26th. It'll include episodes 12 and 13 in it. So that's why it's going to be longer. So on my lip. Anyways, yeah. Excited for that. I always love Bleach. What is my lip doing? Weird. I don't know what's going on with my lip. That's so weird. Sorry. And some really weird news. My Hero and Blue Lock are getting live action stage plays. And it's so bad. I think you guys know how me and Joseph feel about stage plays and live actions. God, it's gonna be terrible. There was like a sneak peek of the Blue Lock one, and the guy playing Asagi looked just really goofy. and yeah, it looked bad. Well, it's gonna be really short. It's hard to do this without like having someone to talk to. It's funny. Um, yeah, it's really all the news that we have for this week. Kind of slow, but the news that did come out was kind of big, like One Punch and Demon Slayer. I guess I'll just get right into the shows we're talking about. I'll probably start off with My Hero since Joseph isn't here and I can actually talk about it. So Joseph, if you do watch over this, just kind of skip this part. But this week's episode was probably the best episode of the season so far. Definitely did the manga justice for sure, just with the voice acting and the animation and the soundtrack and all that. This was probably one of my favorite moments in the manga so far, where it's Dabi's reveal and you get to see his backstory and who he actually is. And I think they did that perfectly in the anime. So I'm really hoping that the future episodes are going to look more like this, and that, yeah. Because, I don't know, the show should look a lot better than it does, in my opinion, but maybe it's just because Mob's taking all the budget for some reason. But I'm not complaining. Mob's great. So yeah, really good episode this week of My Hero. Onto Spy Family. This episode was really good too, compared to the last few Spy Family episodes. Basically, what was happening is that you had to focus. Is my camera out of focus? No, I don't know what's going on with my camera. That's so weird. Anyways, until that sorts itself out. This episode was a continuation of Fiona and Lloyd's tennis match to get the painting back. The animation went crazy in this episode. Why the fuck? There it is. Sorry, excuse my language. Basically, at the end of last episode, the people that they're facing, they start using all these traps and tricks to try and win the game, but Lloyd and Fiona are just going crazy. They're dodging rubber bullets. That's fucking crazy. All while playing a tennis match, and they still won. This is really cool. And then later in the episode, we all know how Fiona is still trying to win the position of Lloyd's wife for the mission. So whenever she's taking Lloyd home, she gets out of the car with him to go meet Yor, or go say hi to her, and she wants to play a tennis match against Yor because she doesn't think that she's like actually good or like help prepare Lloyd for anything. So they're playing, and Yor serves first, and she actually hits the ball so hard that the ball like goes through the tennis racket and breaks into like a bunch of pieces. Which is, I don't know, that's kind of crazy. It's actually, I remember watching a video a while ago saying like how hard it is to pop a tennis ball. So the fact that she could just like shred one up like that is crazy. And then whenever she like tones down her power a little bit so she doesn't break the tennis ball, she hits it, she serves it, right? And then Fiona's like ready to like receive it, but then she's like, what's the ball's moving faster than sound. So that's kind of, it's an anime, you know, stuff like that's gonna happen, but that's a little too crazy, just because they're playing tennis. But it is she is crazy, and she is Lloyd's wife for now. Yeah, that's Spy Family for this week. Next up we have Mob Psycho, episode 10. So what's happening in Mob is that Mob was going to ask out Tsubomi, so he called her, and he was going to meet up her at the park that they always played at. But from last episode, we saw that whenever he was going there, he was crossing the street, and this kid who was playing on his phone wasn't paying attention, so he pushes the kid out of the way, which leads to him getting hit by a car. And so last week's episode ended with him just kind of laying there on the ground, so bleeding out, like he just blood everywhere. And so this week's episode, we come back and he's just pissed off, and we don't know why. Like, he just full on like just gone crazy, and he's just marching through town, destroying everything. And so Hanazawa, he goes to confront him, and he's just like not snapping out of it, but kind of like in his inner conscience, he's like, I think he wanted someone to save him because he wasn't like controlling his body or something. But there's a couple things that me and Joseph were confused about, because one, what was the point of the aliens? Like a couple weeks ago, there was a whole episode about how they got abducted by aliens and were like spending time with them, but they never tied that into the story, which I still think they will. They kind of have to. I don't know. And then another reason is, why is he so mad? Like, is he mad because he's gonna be late to see Tsubomi? But I guess we'll find out on Wednesday, which is tomorrow. Yeah. Ooh, I forgot to watch Team Summit episode this week. Yeah. Anyways. Yeah. So tomorrow, we'll find out what's going on with Mob, because I'm still really confused on that. Next up, we have Blue Lock. This Blue Lock episode is probably the best out of the series so far. So it's a continuation of Team Z's match against Team V. I can say a lot. What the hell? What's it again? So they were down by 3, and then last episode they kind of kicked it up a notch, kind of awakened, I guess, and they scored 3 to tie it. And so in this week's episode, we kind of see, it's just kind of an all-out, not a free-for-all, but it's a really intense match where Nagi actually awakens. He used to listen to Reo all the time, the purple-haired dude, but now he's doing stuff on his own, and that's kind of a threat to Team Z. So their kind of whole struggle this match is trying to adapt to this genius, I guess, because he's just crazy. He has all this talent. But Nagi does get one insane goal off. It's probably not humanly possible, but he's like at the far post of the goal, and then he just jumps up, I don't know, and kicks it in. Is crazy. And then the goalie popped off for once. That's a surprise. Lemon, I think. His name's Lemon. Yeah. He popped off, got a save. And then Gagamaru got a save. What else? And the episode ends with Isagi getting the ball back. And he's like, I think he's about to go crazy, because there's like lightning in his eyes. He's all hyped up, so I think he's about to score right now. That'll be on Saturday's episode. And yeah, definitely the best episode of Blue Lock so far, in my opinion. Up next we got Bleach, episode 10. I've been waiting a long time for this episode, because we got to see Unohana's Bankai. This is crazy, Minazuki. And for the longest time, I kept hearing, so there's a game called Bleach Brave Souls, and they already had all the content up, like, from the 1,000-Year Blood War, so they had all these voice lines mapped out, or already done, So they had Unohana's Bankai. There's something else in the episode that they already had. So whenever she said it, I was expecting something totally different, but I'm glad they changed it up because it sounded really good. I was just used to something else the entire time that I've heard it. But just seeing it animated is crazy because in the manga, it's really hard to kind of just visualize it. Like in the manga, you couldn't tell that where they were fighting was a whole thing of blood. Like they were just encased in blood. But in the show, they did that really well by showing that. Her Bankai is just so cool. The funny thing about her Shikai and Bankai is they're called the same thing. If I remember correctly, her Shikai, Minazuki, is for healing-based things. It's that floating thing, the animal who heals people. And then her Bankai Minazuki is like destruction, something like that, because Minazuki has two different meanings. So yeah, I thought that was really cool. I'll tell Joseph about that whenever I see him. I'll talk to him next. And then yeah, so Kenpachi ends up killing Unohana, which was bound to happen because he needed to undergo change to get stronger, or just to open his eyes, I guess, because we learned that he was suppressing himself ever since he met Unohana, or he's been suppressing himself this entire time because he likes the joy of battle and like fighting on the line or for just like really close to death. So we see that like whenever he was fighting Ichigo the first time in the Soul Society arc, how he almost lost. That was because he was putting himself down to Ichigo's level just so it would be a fair fight to see who would actually win and come out on top. And so whenever he's like kind of awoken again, we see his Zanpakuto talk to him, which if you've been watching Bleach for a while, you know that he's supposed to be the only person without like an actual Zanpakuto, but that's not the case. And so hopefully soon we'll be seeing his true Shikai and maybe even a Bankai. Something to look forward to. Later in the episode, it's focusing on Renji and Ichigo going to Oetsu's little town, I guess, floating island. And as stated in the last episode, he is the person who created the Zanpakuto. So what I can't say that yet. Oh, another line that I was talking about a second ago, whenever he's like, "Oh, I'm the number one Zanpakuto creator." There's a line from the game that just stuck with me ever since, and the way he said it in the anime is really different, so it kind of caught me off guard. But yeah, what happens? Yeah, so he takes Ichigo and Renji to this the actual estate, which is just like a little shack, and he throws them in there, and they're starting to get attacked by these things called Asaushis, something like that, which are basically just plain Zanpakutos. And the reason they're attacking them is because they've never properly used their Zanpakutos, so they're mad at Ichigo and Renji. So they stay in there for almost... Let me do the math. I think it's 4 days. 3 days, yeah. For 3 days. And Renji passed because he's actually a Soul Reaper from what he said. And one of the Asoshis chose Renji, but Ichigo failed because he's technically not a Soul Reaper, and Oetsu, he sent him back to the world of the living, right in front of I think his house. And this is probably one of my favorite parts, or what's coming up next is one of my favorite parts of the Thousand Year Blood War, just because it shows Ichigo's like true backstory and his roots. So I'm really excited to see that. And yeah, that's all for Bleach this week. I I did not watch today's Chainsaw Man episode. Forgot about that. So while I'm recording this, episode 10 is out, but episode 9 I'm gonna be talking about. I did not watch episode 10 yet. Yeah. So basically, what's been going on in Chainsaw Man is these group of people with guns, which is kind of weird. Anyways, they launch an attack on the public safety division. They kill Makima, and then Himeno's dead from last episode. Aki's pretty fucked up. Who else? A lot of the people are dead. But starting this episode off, we see that Makima's just not dead. She just kind of stands there menacingly in the train, which was very scary. And then Denji and Katana Man, they start fighting. And then Denji gets cut in half, unfortunately. Yes. So after Makima's alive, she kills everyone who attacked her on that train. There's just a bunch of holes in them. And she goes to this, I don't know, temple? Yeah, she goes to a temple in the mountains with all these prisoners who have like life sentences or really long sentences. And so what she does is she uses these prisoners to take the lives of all the people that are attacking the public safety division. So it's kind of creepy. She makes her cool little hand sign. She like she's crushing someone. That's what she does. She makes her hand sign that she's crushing someone, and she has the person say whoever she wants to kill, say their name. So the person says their name, and she literally squashes them, which is terrifying because they all start freaking out, and then they just kind of die. So this ties in with Denji and Katana Man, because Katana Man and the Snake Girl were about to take Denji off, and then Makima starts killing all the like grunts around them. So Katana Man and the Snake Girl start freaking out, like, oh, is Makima actually dead? And then out of nowhere, Kobeni shows up, and she just kind of pops off against the Snake Girl and Katana Man. She gets Denji back. She apologizes to him for trying to kill him. This is very sweet. And then, yeah, I think that's pretty much it for Chainsaw Man. I'm really excited for next week's episode because a certain devil, or today's episode, sorry, haven't watched it. A certain devil that someone's supposed to make a pact with. So I hope we get to see that this episode. Yeah, I think that's everything so far. Yeah, very short episode this week. I'm at 23 minutes. Joseph will be back next week. Excuse me. Because he should be done with finals. I think we'll both be back home. We'll sort that out somehow. So yeah, we're gonna do something for Christmas. We'll plan out a Christmas special, like a week before Christmas, probably next week. This episode will be a Christmas special. So yeah, again, very short episode. So sorry about that, guys. But until next week, my name is Ben, not joined by Joseph, sadly. And I will see you guys later. Peace.
test and climb a new class divine. Yeah, true passion shines, and I'm through passing time. I choose stacking dimes, you snooze half the time while I move passing by.